Hello, and welcome to ONCOLife interview session. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest today, Nick Slack, Chairman and CEO of the START Center for Cancer Research. Thank you so much for joining us, Nick.
Hussein, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me and looking forward to a good conversation.
Well, the recent integration of the Carolina Urologic Research Center into the START network marked a major step forward in the oncologic research with nearly 500 clinical trials and a strong global reputation. This enhanced the START's leadership in the early and late phase cancer trial. Today, we will talk about this strategic partnership and the vision for the cancer excellence and the cutting-edge research. So we may start with some information about your professional journey, about your background.
Sure, happy to. So maybe to go back in time a bit, I'm a trained bioethicist, actually. I did my graduate work at the University of Pennsylvania in biomedical ethics. I was between pursuing a career in academia as a professor or stepping into the private sector. And I chose to go into the private sector and not pursue a career in academia. Given my bioethics background, what I started to focus on over time was how do you find organizations in the healthcare setting and in particular in clinical research that are correcting some challenge, some bioethics challenge, some mission critical pathway to drug development. In short, building organizations that help patients. And so that took me over a period of time. I joined an organization called WCG Clinical. I was the president of WCG Clinical. Among other things, we were the largest independent ethics committee in the world. The problem that we were trying to solve was avoiding a duplicative ethics review process that was adding time, cost, delay, and burden to drug development, and trying to streamline that, which we did quite successfully. And after I left WCG gave me a unique view of the clinical research ecosystem. Because we were working with every biopharma company, CRO, academic medical center, private trial site. And what I discovered was a huge and growing problem in cancer clinical trials. Notably, cancer clinical trials were occurring in the same academic medical centers throughout the world. Those centers were only seeing a small percentage of the patient population. If you look in the United States, there's just one data point. For example, those academic medical centers were participating in about 90% of the cancer clinical trials, but were only seeing about 20% of the patients. And if you looked over the last couple of decades, the number of cancer trials was growing and growing and growing, and placing a great deal of burden on those academic medical centers. And so they were constrained by capacity. And more importantly, the patients who needed access to those trials in the community settings weren't getting them. And so I wanted to pursue correcting that issue, which led me to START. And I'm thrilled that I've become the chairman and CEO of the START Center for Cancer Research over the last year.
And we may move about some more information about the disintegration of the Carolina Urologic Research Center into the START Center Cancer Research as a global network. How does this complement the START overall vision for oncology research, and what was the strategic reasoning behind these equations?
Let me answer that by giving a little bit of background on START overall, because I think that's important in describing a little bit more of the logic and the importance of bringing Carolina Urologic Research Center into START and integrating it. And I'll share more about our future plans there. But overall, START, we've been around for almost 20 years. 18 years to be exact. We've had a focus on our mission, which we describe as hope through access. We offer patients hope in the form of a cutting-edge clinical trial by giving them access to those trials in community-based settings around the globe. To date, we are 10 clinics across the globe. We will be 11 clinics by the end of the year, and we'll probably be about 16 clinics in 2026. Overall, we have 720 oncology trials active across those 10 clinics, most notably in early phase oncology. And why early phase oncology? It's the hub of innovation. It's where the next gen therapeutics are coming out and coming into the clinic. And we see through the partners that we work with at hospitals, at oncology practice groups, that their physicians want access to those cutting edge therapies for their patients. And so with 20 million new cancer cases and 20 million people getting diagnosed each year with cancer, our vision is to be in as many locations as we can around the globe, offering clinical trial access to these cutting edge clinical therapeutics for patients when they need them. As that relates to Carolina Urologic Research Center, or CURC, which we now call Start Carolinas because they're based in South Carolina, there are about 2.5 million new GU oncology, so genitourinary oncology cases per year. So against the backdrop of 20 million new cancer cases overall, that's a pretty significant number and a growing incidence rate. If you consider the aging population, especially the male population, we'll see more and more prostate cancer cases. And so the vision for this was notably to ensure that given the incidence rate of GU cancers, that we had a leadership position in conducting these clinical trials, not only in first in human, but more than that, in some of the later phases of trials. And so when we started to take a look at Start Carolinas, or its former name, Carolina Urologic Research Center, and learned even more about Dr. Neil Shore's aspirations, it was notable because they were doing more GU oncology trials at that clinic than any other clinic in the world. Dr. Shore himself is one of the most prolific clinical trialists in GU oncology in the world, has been for quite some time, and also a very, very prolific publisher and author and intellect in the space. So when you combine Start's leadership position as one of the largest, if not the largest in the world, early phase oncology clinics globally, with a vision to make sure that we're offering access to these cutting edge therapeutics in the important GU oncology space, we wanted to go to the leader, and that was Carolina Urologic Research Center to bring them into the organization.
Right. Start Carolina has conducted nearly, probably even more, 500 clinical trials in genital oncology. How will its integration with the START network further enhance its ability to conduct clinical research?
Yeah, it's a great question. So a couple of things there. One, we're going to expand it. We're going to expand its participation in clinical trials. That will be that starts with the more simple, and then it goes to the more aspirational. The more simple is this is a very robust clinical research unit already, but even in the Carolinas, where they're based in South Carolina, there's more opportunity to serve more patients there. And so we're going to expand the clinic footprint there. We're also, because we have a global company with very, very robust people, process, technology components to it and start, we're giving them capabilities that they didn't possess on their own. So in short, resources to expand in their market, resources to attract new trials that may not have come to them before, different technologies to make their workflow easier and more efficient, different patient engagement strategies to make the patient process even better. And it's already terrific, but to make it even better. And then our aspiration is actually, because Carolina Urologic Research Center is attached to a urology practice group. And so, and Dr. Shore himself is a leading urologist in the world. He is incredibly well regarded and well known. And so we are going to take our model at start, whereby we actually embed our model inside of hospitals and practice groups, notably in oncology. And we're going to embed our model into more urology practice groups because that's where GU oncology patients tend to present in the United States. And so we will, over time, we'll open up more GU oncology trial clinics that are attached to urology practices.
One of the unique features of the START new dedicated Center for Excellence in urological cancer is its direct patient-derived xenograft translational service.
Yeah, there's two aspects. One's the clinical trial aspect, and the other is a preclinical aspect that makes up the Center of Excellence. And so if you think about it on the clinical trial aspect first, there's nothing like it. So there is literally no other clinic that's a GU clinic that are attached to urology practices where patients with GU cancers are presenting and offering the physicians, the urologists there, the ability to refer patients into cutting edge GU oncology trials when they need them. And importantly, nowhere else can patients have that kind of access to those types of trials in a urological setting. And so that makes it very unique from a clinical trial standpoint. Let's go to the preclinical standpoint now for a moment. Given the incidence rate and growing incidence rate of GU cancers, that tracks to what we're seeing in R&D investment in the GU space. So think about more molecules coming out to target prostate, bladder, renal cancers. Also think about the exciting area of radioligand therapies, which have been historically focused on GU cancers and notably prostate. So what we do there's a preclinical aspect of the START organization. We call it XenoSTART. And what we do is we source tumor tissue from the clinics that we are in. We grow that tissue into PDX cancer models, for which we have about 3,000 of them. And then we annotate, we characterize, we sequence those PDX models, we catalog them, and we make them available for biopharma companies who are looking at new targets for new molecules to run their preclinical trials. So in short, we have a translational arm, and there is no other organization in cancer drug development doing what we're doing, where we offer the ability to take a molecule from the preclinical setting into the clinic. Now, here's how that relates more specifically to the GU Oncology Center of Excellence. GU tissue in general, and therefore GU PDX models, particularly in prostate, are very hard to come by. And so given that we now have access to the largest GU oncology trial organization in the world at the clinic level in CURC, given that we're going to expand into other urology practices, that means we'll be able to source tissue for GU move that tissue into PDX models and offer drug developers the ability to actually take those molecules from the preclinical setting into the clinical setting. So you see this virtuous cycle where everything is rooted in the same mission, which is, again, the patient, and offering patients the ability to participate in the clinical trial process.
The next question is, the Start Carolina is known for its strong relationship with the sponsor and industry partners. How do you plan to leverage this relationship to expand Start's global reach and effectiveness?
Yeah, it's a great question, and that was really fundamental to our thinking about making the investment in the acquisition of Start Carolinas. And so, again, with Dr. Shore's leadership position, he advises many biopharma companies. He is often the location that biopharma companies are seeking at which to run their trials. And so the ability to expand Start's overall GU oncology presence, not just by acquiring the clinic, but also by making available the number of trial opportunities that are going to come to Start Carolinas to all of our clinics who are all seeing GU oncology patients. That was a quite powerful and compelling aspect of our strategy. And so we're already seeing that since we've had Start Carolinas, new protocols are coming in that are being shared across our overall network of clinics, and so we'll have greater participation in those GU oncology trials across more of the Start sites. So that's one way that we're thinking about it. Another way that we're thinking about it is just there's been a significant number of cutting edge therapies that have been performed and conducted at Start Carolinas, notably again in the radioligand therapy space. Through the leadership position there that they have, we are actively expanding our capability to perform those RLTs at more of our Start clinics. So what you can expect to see across our network is that we're going to play a leadership role in the GU oncology space, not only with Start Carolinas, but by further activating and expanding the capability of our existing clinics, and then certainly with the new clinics that we open up.
Genitourinary cancer are rapidly increasing globally. What role do you see the Center of the Excellence playing in addressing this growing healthcare challenge?
Yeah, we think a lot about comprehensive cancer care, and comprehensive cancer care isn't just the delivery of standard therapies or conventional therapies. Importantly, our role in that is to bring the other side of comprehensive cancer care, which is access to clinical trials. And so it's mission imperative for us to help the hospitals and the practice groups with which we partner be able to offer cutting edge cancer trials for GU oncology patients. And so any cancer patient anywhere, regardless of the type of cancer they have, should have access to a clinical trial when they need it. Physicians should be able to refer patients to cancer trials when they need to in order to deliver comprehensive cancer care. And that's especially true in a growing area like GU oncology, where there's 2.6 million new cases per year. And so that's how our contribution will be expanding our capability there to be able to help the physicians who are treating those patients, who need clinical trials for those patients, and obviously helping those patients get onto those trials when they need them.
How will Start Carolina influence the development of the personalized medicine in urologic oncology?
I think we can influence it in a number of ways. One way is given the position that we have of leadership, and we're typically advising biopharma companies on the development of their protocols, how to properly conduct those trials. The biopharma companies are turning to us nearly every week for guidance on their plans. So that's one way we can influence the process, by just being a great partner to the pioneering scientists within the biopharma clients that we serve. Number two, you have to have the infrastructure to run these trials. You need to have, if you're a biopharma company or you're a CRO, you need access to great clinics that have patients that are able to perform efficiently, perform well, enroll well, and do so in a highly compliant, high quality manner. So with our expansion of infrastructure, that's another way we'll influence. And then third, as previously mentioned, the ability to develop new cancer models, new PDX cancer models. So we're helping the drug developers who are operating in the GU space, who are exploring new targets, who are exploring new molecules, so that they have the ability to have access to a more robust set of targeting tissue, targeting tumors in the preclinical setting, and then helping them move into the clinical setting. I think that's the third powerful contribution that we can make there.
And we are in the last question. Finally, looking ahead, what are your primary goal for the Start and the Start Carolina in the next 3 or 5 years?
Yeah, our primary goal, and I'll come back to our mission of hope through access, is to be able to offer as many patients and as many of their physicians as we can the ability to participate in oncology trials when they need one. So that we think a lot about expanding our footprint so that the continuum of care includes cutting edge cancer trials for the physicians and their patients when they need them. So I think you can expect us in the coming years to expand our presence increasingly globally. Moving from the 10 clinics we're in today to something that looks more like 30 clinics over a 3 to 5 year horizon, and that's all rooted in our mission. Number one. Number two, it's rooted in providing the infrastructure for biopharma companies. It's interesting to note, especially in the U.S., where so many of the cancer trials are done, that the academic model is under further pressure. If you look at NIH budget compression, National Cancer Institute budget compression, so many of those institutions are reliant upon those federal revenues for research. Those centers have historically been rather inefficient, and I believe that when you put further pressure on them, biopharma and the CROs who often manage the trials will need to be able to find world-class centers of excellence in the community setting, and that's precisely what we do, and we're growing. As it relates to Start Carolinas, and again, the legacy of which was Carolina Urologic Research Center. Again, we will expand their footprint not only in the location that they're in, but we'll expand that capability to other urology practices in the U.S. and around the globe, and we will empower our current clinics with more GU oncology capabilities in general, and specifically in the RLT space. And so I do think that for the drug developers whose portfolios will have an increasing participation rate in prostate, bladder, renal cancers with RLT mechanisms, that we'll be in a good position to help them.
Well, thank you very much. I have finished my questions. I don't know, do you want to underline anything or add something more?
No, it was a delight to have the conversation with you. We appreciate it very much. And I would just say we're trying to do our small part in the world to make a difference in how cancer patients are cared for. And so it's just a real privilege to be able to represent START in the conversation with you today. So thank you.